Evening, folks. My name is Dane Harden with Western Masters Martial Arts. Tonight's Aikido lesson, Judo lesson, Jiu-Jitsu lesson is this idea of breakfalls. In Aikido, we refer to breakfalls as ukeme, which is the ability to absorb energy from a fall and not hurt yourself. This skill set is tantamount in many martial arts, especially martial arts that involve controls or projections where someone is being thrown. My training partner tonight is Mark Weiniger. Mark is one of my Sandan candidates. He's training for his 3rd degree black belt in Yoshinkan Aikido. So Mark-san, if you'll go through these with us, Mark will stand up. And I'll kind of explain what it is that we're doing as we're going through this. So Mark, if you'll face me, that way the camera angle will probably be best, and scooch forward some. So you're right in the center of the floor. So the first one is called Koho Keme Ich. Koho Keme Ich. So Koho means basic, ukeme. So the idea is that Mark is trying to get his hips as low to the floor as possible so that the amount of distance or space that he's falling is minimized to maybe 5 or 6 inches. And he rolls out and executes a breakfall. This would be a basic judo breakfall. Koho Keme Ich. Perform. Ready? Ich! Hey! You'll notice when Mark does this, he brings his feet out at the 45. If I shove him and go to jump, I wind up jumping on some feet. So that's not good. He's putting something between himself and the opponent. So now if we bump this up, the Japanese say Koho Keme Ni. So this is basic back breakfall number 2. With number 2, our hands are going to be striking down at about a 45-degree angle. The idea is that we're trying to deliver a kinetic energy in the opposite direction of our fall, opposite direction, so that it reduces overall impact. So Mark's on Koho Keme Ni. Ready? Eight! Ready? Eight! So very good. If I'm a bully and I shove him, and he's able to absorb that break fall and not get injured. Now, next break fall is called Ushiro Kaiten Koho Ukeme. Ushiro means rear. Kaiten means body change. Koho, basic exercise, Ukeme. So it's a basic back break fall rolling style. Mark's on, if you'll scooch forward. Now I'm going to walk over here so everybody can see. So if you watch what Mark's doing, Mark will set to Kamae and backward roll. Ready? Eight! And turn and backward roll. Eight! Very good. Sometimes we teach this exercise to students if it's a beginning exercise. I like to teach it from a kneeling position, what we call a suwarewaza, one knee down or both knees down. Suware means kneeling position. So if I'm doing the forward roll from a knee down position, down, roll through. If I'm doing the backward roll, same exact thing, and roll through. So it teaches me to impact on one shoulder, cross my spine in the thoracic spine where ribs hold everything in together, and there's less likelihood of spinal injury, and then I impact on my hip. So that's that aspect. So next up is going to be forward break falls or forward rolls. The Japanese for this is Zenpo, Kaiten, Koho, Ukeme Ich. Zenpo forward, Kaiten body change. Koho basic, Ukeme break fall number 1. Mark Sunset, Mike. Ready, eight! And turn. Eight! And turn. All right, so that's the very basic forward roll. The next one, I like to tell my students, think of it as if you're at an MG, which is an old car, and someone's going to set the emergency brake. On a number 2, Mark's in his kamae. As he starts to roll forward, this arm functions like an emergency brake in that it stops his progression of the break fall. Again, Mark. And turn. And on that one, a couple of tips. The longer you can keep your foot in contact with the surface of the mat, the further you're into the break fall, and and the less you actually fall. Mark-san, demonstrate. Nice. And going back. Very good. On that breakfall, having that foot in contact with the lead ground for as long as possible really reduces the impact. I have screws and pins in my hip. I have an artificial hip that's made out of metal. So if I'm setting up with this, I want to keep this foot as if there's a nail into it. And as I'm going down, going down, going down, foot comes up, roll through, and I'm able to do that even with a post-surgical hip. And it doesn't cause any problems because the roll is smooth and it absorbs the energy appropriately. Okay, Mark's on number 3 style breakfall. And go ahead. In our system, a number 3 style breakfall is called Zenpo Kaiten Koho Keme San. And a number 3 style breakfall would be if someone were giving you a great deal of energy to where you had to slap, and then the leg extends the kinetic energy out. I like to use the analogy of peanut butter. If I take a big glob of peanut butter and I throw it on the mat, if I throw it straight down and it doesn't do anything, it has no oblique movement at all, the peanut butter goes splat, right? But if I throw it and there's some kinetic energy that's lateral, then the peanut butter hits and slides and it spreads out. And that's what we're trying to do with the kinetic force of this. So Mark's on one more time. And watch as the energy goes forward. Ready? That's what we want. And Mark one more time on number 3. And go. Nice. Okay, so in our system of Yoshinkan Aikido, we also have a number 4 style breakfall. Zenpo Kaiten Koho Okeme Yan. So on Yan, the idea is that the foot and ankle don't touch. This would be a breakfall where you've been thrown, you're out in a parking lot or a street, there's a curb, there's rocks, there's gravel, a boulder. There's something you don't want your ankle to slam into. Because that's one of the problems with some of the breakfalls is your ankles will clack with the wooden floor. It's not good, it's very painful. Mark-san, sit to Kamai. Zenpo Kaiten Koho Ukeme Yan. Ready? Eight! Notice that his foot didn't touch. One more time, Mark-san. If you'll watch, his lead ankle does not touch. The energy is being absorbed by the supported leg. Eight! Exactly. Next, we're going to do an aerial breakfall. So Hyaku Ukemes are breakfalls that if someone gives you a lot of energy and you really have to fly with the technique, that would be like an aerial breakfall. So Mark-san, if you'll demonstrate a Hyaku Ukeme. Very good. And other side. Notice that he's landing on his side. His leg muscles are tightened up, very tight, so that all the joints are locked in solid. The mortise joint, which is the ankle joint, it's like 2 pinions with a talus that fits up in between it and the heels on the base. When I lock all that up and pull my foot back, that's going to help to protect the ankle itself. Now, there are drills that we can do. We call these cross hand drills or handshake drills that teach how to feel some energy with a Hyaku. Mark-san? It's very good to meet you. So if Mark and I do this, I'm going to turn my back towards the camera and I'll talk over my left shoulder. I'm going to give him a little bit of energy. When he feels that energy, he's going to go with the throw. And now same thing, other side. Let's turn this way. So again, this is a great drill for teachers to get the student to kind of understand what it feels like. If I were doing a kotegayashi, it would really be the same thing, but we do it handshake style just for safety. And notice I don't let go of Mark's hand. That kind of is like in gymnastics where you would have a spotter spotting someone on a backflip or something along that line. So now, the last in the series of breakfalls that we do as we progressively get better, and there are many. One of my very good friends, Guillermo Gomez, teaches what's called a barrel roll method, which is very smooth, cat-like movements. Yoshinkan's breakfalls are more akin to like a judo breakfall because that's kind of our heritage, where we came from. Gozo Shioda was the founder of our system, and his father was a judo instructor. And Gozo Shioda had studied judo prior to training in Aikido from Moriya Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. So Mark-san, if you'll set to Kamai. So he's going to do what's called a Tobakoshi breakfall. And we make this more fun by having somebody here that's in front And he's just going to do a one step. And he's going to go over. Go ahead. And we can build that up and make it more difficult. Go ahead. And I can build it up and make it more difficult still. Go ahead. And we can make it more difficult still. Go ahead. So the idea on the breakfalls, especially the tobokoshi, is this idea of a projection where someone has really thrown you quite a distance. Mark's on. If Mark says to come on, he's trying to grab, and I shift good, and you don't throw. So that's a projection. That's where we're literally taking this guy and taking the energy that he's giving me and giving it back to him. Versus if he's attacking me with his left hand, and I just simply cut him up, that's where your basic breakfall is going to come into play. Mark's on, let's face the camera. Caesar. Shoulder break. Guys, that's your lesson. Basic breakfalls. You can spend literally decades upon decades getting these breakfalls down, making them smooth, understanding how to dissipate the energy. None of the things that we were just doing are easy. If you've never trained in Aikido before, please don't try some of these aerial breakfalls on your own or you're going to injure yourself. Obviously, go find a school somewhere that has proper instruction. If you're here in the Abingdon area, please stop by Western Masters Martial Arts and learn some Aikido. We'd love to have you in class. Thank you so much. See you guys next week. Os.